Trusted Autonomous Systems, funded by the Queensland State Government, has been at the forefront of developing tools and resources to support the autonomous systems ecosystem in navigating regulatory pathways. Autonomous and remotely operated vessels face unique challenges when it comes to complying with maritime regulations. For instance, they must comply with COLREGs, the rules of the road, for preventing collisions at sea. However, these rules were introduced in 1972 with the assumption that vessels would have humans on board, keeping a lookout and making decisions. To address this challenge, TAS and Fraser Nash Consultancy, a KBR company, have collaborated to create the COLREGs Operator Guidance Framework. This game-changer framework provides clarity and guidance on understanding how COLREGs applies to autonomous and remotely operated vessels. It clearly describes the capabilities necessary to comply with each rule, ensuring consistency and repeatability in decision-making. So, what does the framework do? The COLREGs Operator Guidance Framework translates the human-centric terminology used in COLREGs into a language that makes sense for autonomous and remotely operated vessels. The framework helps vessel designers understand the capabilities that COLREGs require vessels to have, assists operators in comprehending COLREGs requirements, and explains how mission planning can mitigate or eliminate complex rules, and enables a regulator to apply a consistent methodology when assessing a vessel's ability to comply with COLREGs. The COLREGs Operator Guidance Framework can be used to best effect when there is a specific vessel and mission in mind. How does the framework work in practice? Let's take an example. COLREGs Rule 5 states, vessels shall always maintain a lookout by sight, hearing, and all available and effective means for the circumstances. Sight and hearing are human-centric senses, and the interpretation of all available and effective means is quite subjective. Here's where the COLREGs Operator Guidance Framework comes into play. It translates this rule into a list of tangible capabilities, such as detecting the presence of and categorising other vessels using video cameras, detecting light signals and sound signals produced by other vessels, and detecting the presence of other vessels using radar or the Global Automatic Identification System. Identifying these capabilities, which can be present on or off-board the vessel, makes COLREGs relatable to autonomous and remotely operated vessels, providing a practical roadmap to compliance. How will the framework support the autonomous systems ecosystem? We know some of the previous capabilities are easier said than done. The framework recognises this by supporting adaptable solutions to compliance. For example, by allowing users to successfully identify the capabilities required by each rule so that they can check whether a specific autonomous vessel can feasibly demonstrate these during a specific mission. Or, instead, implement mitigation strategies such as remote operator supervision or route alterations to avoid a risk of non-compliance. The COLREGs Operator Guidance Framework is not a set of mandatory requirements. Instead, it's a pragmatic toolkit, making COLREGs requirements relatable to autonomous and remotely operated vessels, enabling vessel designers, operators and regulators to demonstrate and assess compliance, and more broadly, navigate the challenges and opportunities of the maritime autonomous systems ecosystem. For more information on the COLREGs and to access the COLREGs Operator Guidance Framework and supplementary digital tools, visit now rasgateway.com.au/COLREGs.